when the world has got you down. And
Alzheimer's sucks. It's an equal opportunity disease that chips away at everything we hold dear. And to date, there's no cure. So until there is, we continue to fight with the most powerful tool in our arsenal, love. This is Love Conquers Alls, a real and really positive podcast that takes a deep dive into everything Alzheimer's, the good, the bad, and everything in between. And now, here are your hosts, Susie Singer-Carter and me, Don Priest.
Hello, everybody. It's Susie Singer-Carter.
And I'm Don Priest, and this is Love Conquers Alls. Hello, Susan.
We're back. It's been a while.
We are back.
We have been so inconsistent, but thank you for everybody who is hanging in there with us, because we really appreciate it. We love talking to you, and we love doing this show so much, and it's very important to us, and because we love speaking to the people that we have on, our guests, and so. But the documentary has definitely sidelined us a bit. But the good news is we launched on August 1st on Amazon. And now we're available on Hoopla and also on Tubi. And we are very happy. We're getting excellent response. And it's stirring the pot, and that's what we were trying to do. And so we're happy. And we would love everybody that's out there to, if you haven't watched it, watch it, please. It's three parts, so you can take a break. And I'll say it's not an easy watch, but it's an important watch, and it's also it's an educational watch as well, and you'll learn a lot that you need to know, because all of us are facing some kind of caregiving situation, and usually it's a crisis kind of situation. So if we can mitigate any kind of issue that that's possible, why not? Doesn't that sound better? And then you don't have to.
And
end
if
up
you're
like
listening
me.
to this right now, you're probably into that. If you're listening right now, you're probably in a position where you are either caregiving or in need of caregiving, and so this directly relates to everyone who's
That's so
listening
true.
right
I
now,
didn't
and it
think
relates
about
to
that, Don.
everybody.
I didn't think about that, because otherwise you'd be listening to like Amy Poehler in Good Hang.
Exactly.
Because although we're kind of like Amy Poehler in Good Hang, we're just in the caregiving world.
Well, I'm like Amy Poehler.
You are. You're more like Amy Poehler.
I'm similar. Yeah.
You look a lot like her. That's for sure.
Except I think you were thinking of Amy Schumer.
No, I was thinking of Amy Poehler.
Oh, okay. In this case.
Yeah, the Good Hang.
Well,
it's one of my
She has a
favorite podcasts.
too.
It's so
that's
fun.
That's true.
Yeah.
All the Amys.
All the Amys. And one Susie. That's the name of my book. All
Exactly.
the Amys and one Susie.
Amy's and one Susie.
Uh-huh. So, and if you do, let me just finish my commercial for a second, which is a good commercial. We don't make money off of this at all. I just want to say that, what we get out of it is impact and change. And so if you would be so kind to watch this and go to either Amazon, if you get it through Amazon, and please rate and review, because that connects to their algorithm, and then that tells Amazon that we're important enough to keep pushing it out there and not bury us somewhere where you have to type in the name and find us. And then, and if you get it for free on Tubi, then please just go to IMDb, which is the Internet Movie Database. If you're not in the industry, you might have to. I think you do have to sign up. It's free, but this is for a good cause, you guys. I'm not asking you to put out any money. Just rate it, review it, because it will help us get it out past our echo chamber. So that's super important, and thank you.
And share it with everyone you know, because so there's our commercial.
We did it, done and done. And so today we're doing a take two, as they say in our business of filmmaking. We're doing a take two with someone that we had such a great conversation, and then things happen. And it doesn't matter. But whatever it is, we're back, and we're going to be talking to this amazing woman, and she's kind enough to cut us a break for whatever we did something. I don't remember what it was, but something happened, and she came back to us.
It was a technical difficulty, if you will.
Yeah. So here we are, and I feel grateful for that. And so let's just jump in. Don, give her the best
Yes.
introduction ever.
Let me give it a whirl.
Okay.
After 15 years building teams and growing high-impact technology companies, Crystal Gallo discovered her true calling in the most unexpected way, through caregiving. When her own family faced dementia and cancer, she experienced firsthand how isolating and overwhelming the caregiver journey can be. Inspired by her own path and countless others she met navigating similar challenges, she founded Innerhive, a company dedicated to ending caregiver burnout and helping us all show up better for ourselves and the people we love. And to find out more about this wonderful innovation, let's say hello to Crystal Gallo. Hello, Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. Thank you for coming back and joining us again. So first, how are you doing on a personal note?
I'm good. I feel like probably not as wild of a ride as what you guys are going through right now. I think it's pretty rad that you finally were able to get the documentary launched, have some phenomenal conversation rolling. So it's exciting to kind of see those things happening in the out there. And
Thank
just
you.
Grateful to be
Thank
here
you.
to support you.
Oh, thank you
Very
so
nice.
much. So, but okay, enough about me. But give us some background on Crystal Gallo first, and how you got into this arena, this community of caregiving. Because I think everyone understands that there's some reason why we all end up here.
Yeah, I mean the juicy background. I can get into all sorts of fun stuff that I love to do in my spare time, but mostly as it relates to this, I've spent a lot of time and kind of grown up in technology. So I worked really hard to kind of earn the influence and opportunities that I had, and was fortunate to be at companies that were high growth, all with successful exits. But I never really had the privilege of being able to work on something personal, something that I could hold deeply, something that was an experience that I went through and I held strong conviction around. And a lot of people that know me know my curiosity kind of runs deep. I hold a great affection around continued learning, and there's just an energy that I get from being able to explore and connect and grow. And I knew at some point I was going to find my way back to, wellness has always been at the core of all my decisions and kind of my growth, that it's my passion. I didn't expect that path back home, so to speak, would be, maybe how it unfolded. Some say it was a wake-up call, some maybe say it's healthy perspective, others say it's crazy, but in any case, I feel like Innerhive started from a deeply personal, rooted place that I found myself in an unexpected kind of caregiving situation, but after being able to connect with others and feeling inspired by their willingness to be open and raw, and recognizing that we share a common understanding. We've been there. We've been in the trenches, navigating the chaos. We've felt completely overwhelmed and alone, and we've the impact that has in terms of burnout creeping in and feeling like your own wellness is being negatively, not in a good space. And so, despite the risk and the challenge that comes with pursuing new territory, I think my intuition told me I really had to pursue this path. It was really important. It was meaningful. There was great personal purpose, and being able to kind of have this common denominator, the shared experience among others, was the inspiration behind Innerhive.
I love it because I think, like I said, everybody comes to this community with a story, right? And something that motivates you, and then we all look at what's our strengths to hopefully make it an easier space based on our experience. Being a filmmaker, I do it that way. And you come from a tech background, which is phenomenal and also scary as hell because it changes constantly, and I don't know how you keep up.
We're not a tech company trying to sell something to caregivers. We're actually caregivers who were in it, who had that breakdown, who felt it, who made an intentional pivot. We just happen to know tech. So I think being able to think about how do we solve complex problems in something that's so personal, and how can we leverage tech to be able to enhance the humanity side, to be able to give a space to be present. That was our mission. We want to do that and make sure that it stays human, us people, the connection at the core, because you can't use technology to solve these things. I don't know, there's different opinions out there, but emotions have all sorts of colors. So there's a huge spectrum to that. And
Yeah.
this is a deeply emotional space. And so being able to leverage that technology is good, but it will never replace.
So
Agreed.
what is the elevator pitch basically on how Innerhive works? What is, I mean, just so for somebody who has no idea, how do you tell them this is what we do and this is how it works?
Yeah. So I guess I'll start you off. What we really rallied around, we had the opportunity to connect with hundreds of families, and we just wanted to ground ourselves to make sure that our personal bias, so our team collectively has had experience in care, but from different perspectives. So it might be caring for a parent or someone that, is aging. It might be caring for a child with medical complexity. It could be caring for a partner, mental health. There's been a whole spectrum. So we wanted to kind of remove what we felt and connect with families. And the biggest challenge that we kept hearing is information overload. In the very beginning, like the greatest pain point people have is I had an accident, or I had a situation or fall or a new diagnosis, and then what happens next? Everyone's calling each other, you have conversations that are happening, you have appointments that you're going to,
Right.
you're trying to just process all of it, and it's so overwhelming. And so we wanted to make it really easy with just a couple of clicks. How can we help capture, summarize, and make it easy to share that information? Because it lets you stay present. It brings others into the fold. And when you can use that information as a source of connection, you've got the ability where other people don't feel like they're boxed out. They're sharing that care load. And it's just really important context. It really helps when you can process that flood of information and you can bring clarity to where do I focus, what's next. It changes outcomes. It provides a better quality of life when you've got that caliber of organization and connection in your support community.
So what
So
does that look like? How does that, I mean, just an example of,
maybe I could frame it this way. So there's a lot of support groups, right, out on Facebook, say. What does Innerhive offer that is different from a forum?
I love that. We'll put a pin in the forum piece because that's been a great point of feedback. So let me just paint a picture. If you guys have any siblings, or if you've, I know given the experience you've been in, let's just say your mom has an accident, you get a call, you're generally her primary go-to, whether that's legally or that just happens to be. She's going to call you, and it kicks off this telephone chain. So you get a call, hey, I have early onset Alzheimer's. I need to go. I need to connect with the doctor. I need to learn a little bit more about what that looks like, what I can do. You're like, great, I'll go. I'll be with you. I'll support you. So you go to this conversation with your mom, and by the time dinner rolls around, she's completely forgotten everything that had happened. In the conversation, it felt like she was present. She had questions. She was capturing it. Everything felt good. And then you get to the dinner table, and you're trying to share, and you're trying to bring your siblings and her partner in the loop.
And it's gone.
And all of a sudden, she doesn't even remember the conversation happened. And so instantly, me, as her daughter, feels, what am I going to do? Like, should I have taken notes during the appointment? I don't want mom to feel like I'm kind of micromanaging or she's a case study. Do I record and not tell her? That doesn't feel good. I feel completely guilty, like I should have been capturing that information. I just thought she seemed like she was in a good place and we had it covered.
Right.
And now I don't even know what to say. Like, I instantly had this flush of emotion and I'm overwhelmed and I can't answer the questions. So we made it super easy. If you were to go and download our app, you can use it on your phone. So you can get it in Google Play, you can get it in the App Store, you can go use it on iPad desktop. But in a couple clicks, you say, hey, I really just want to capture some notes. Are you okay with that? Great. You let technology run in the background. Don't worry about if you can read your notes, scribbling, keeping up, trying to understand the medical jargon. Don't worry about trying to ask all the right questions. Just be there for your mom. Be present in her company, there to support her. It's such an emotional journey to go through these conversations. Then when that appointment ends, you've got that. You have the entire transcription. So if you want to go back and listen to it or read it, you've got all the details. But mostly you have a summary. Here's what we discussed. Here's next steps. I need to schedule this appointment. I need to, up this medication. And that's so easy to share. So then 6 months later, when your mom's condition has progressed and she maybe isn't in a place where she can advocate for herself anymore, you have that recording. You have her own words, what she, you have that appointment, you have the conversation that could have happened after where she got to express, hey, here's my preference, here's what's meaningful to me, what matters. And so that takes the weight off of you. You're no longer in a situation where you're having to think, wow, what do I do? It's like, hey, mom, do you remember when we went to this appointment? Let's talk about this. And do you remember when we had this conversation after and we kind of captured our discussion of what your preferences were? It's a phenomenal way of just providing a a voice. It's keeping
A record.
dignity.
It's a record.
Yeah.
So is incorporating AI?
Yeah, exactly. We're using AI to help summarize so that you can be present.
That's
So
awesome.
that same
Enhance the
technology, when
human
you have
connection.
when you have a doctor's appointment, or you're talking with your siblings and you're trying to decide who's doing what and all those things, all of that the same technology can be used for those conversations.
100%.
Especially with the doctors, because doctors,
Yep.
in normal situations, you go to the doctor, they tell you something, and the second you walk out that door, you can't remember what the heck they said. So I assume it can be used for all. Can it be used over the phone? I mean, if you're with phone conversations, or how would that work? It's just in person.
If you have someone on speaker, it can absolutely be used. So if
Okay.
you have someone on speaker and you're sitting there and you have your phone active, you can use it then. We've had families that have had, again, the care preference. So you have someone maybe with cognitive decline, and when they're still lucid, you get to capture some of those cool moments and preferences. We have another family. It's really sweet. I had the opportunity to meet with him recently, and he was sharing some tidbits about their journey, and his mom is nonverbal now. And so he's had to learn how to kind of understand her vocalizations and what that means and how to interpret and how is she expressing emotion. Well, that's so difficult to be able to articulate and share with your family if they're not there. It's not easy to explain. It's not easy to replicate. He was able to use this note-taking scribe and record it and send it to his siblings. And so you can use it in medical appointments. You can use it in home care conversations. We have families that are talking to each other and they just want to summarize and have a record of the discussions of like, hey, Mom, what's your preference? How are you feeling? We people use it every day for journaling. Mom's doing great today. She just had hip surgery. She's still using a walker. Fast forward 4 days. Mom's letting go of the walker. She's feeling independent. She's doing, her gait's looking better. We have people that use it as just a memory log. Think about a digital scrapbook where you can piece all these together, and over time, you get to be able to go back and reflect. And there's something special about that. I have a voicemail I think I've shared with you, my grandparents helped raise me. And so when I lost my grandfather, that was kind of like the first. I had gone through loss in my life, but that was the first one that hit home very differently. And I was so thankful. We always checked in and we talked every day. And after I had moved, it became a little harder with the time zone. So he would call super early. They're on East Coast, I'm West Coast. And sometimes if he didn't get me, he'd leave a voicemail. And he had left this voicemail one morning. And it was unexpected when he had passed the next week. But that voicemail has been my gold. Every year I've been able to listen to it. I've been able to share it whenever I bring it up with my mom and grandmother. It just, you can see the emotion and the energy and the feeling that comes back. It's like listening to a song that brings up nostalgic memories. That's what this offers. It's just a really great way of taking a lot of information, capturing it, summarizing it, making it super easy to share. And yeah, like you said, you can use it in so many different ways.
Does it catalog it as well?
So you'll have a complete note file. You can filter and just say, show me all my notes, show me the notes with recording. You have the option when you share it out, what level of detail. It gives you explicit action items that you can engage with. So if you're managing care with others, for example, we have a family and long distance, the daughter happens to live and is caring for her mom, and her brother is not, and they were running into a little bit of family dysfunction. She was feeling like she was carrying the load, burning out.
What? That's crazy. I've never heard that before.
I know. This is real things here.
What?
But you get stuck in this like awful cycle of exhaustion and guilt, and then you start to build resentment. And it's like people have good intention and they want to help, but they just don't have the tools and they don't know how. And so in this case, the frustration was kind of growing, and she was then we had the opportunity to meet, and she started using Innerhive to capture the conversations. So then it made it easy, because now when she's sharing it with her brother, Mark's not just getting, her interpretation. He's getting the raw at the source. He can hear, what the conversation looked like. He can hear the response. So they've got that baseline and they're operating from the same jump off, which makes it super easy. So now they can collaborate and they can both go, oh, hey, I listened to that. I'm going to do this research. You do that research. Let's come back together and we can make a decision together, versus her feeling like, this is all on me. And also, here's what I heard. And half the time you walk away, like you said, you're overwhelmed. You're like, wait, shoot, what do I need to do? What was that? And then
Okay, right. Just for that, it's worth everything. Because if you have, no, seriously, because these kinds of caregiving issues can bring up so much contentious kind of relationships that were brewing in the background, but then all of a sudden, all when you're in crisis or when there's crisis plus money involved and all kinds of things that make people different than you ever expected. You have a record. It's not on you just to say, no, this actually happened. You can show it.
It's funny you say that. So family dynamics is a really big part of extending care. People don't realize it escalates fast, and when communication's broken down, like, it could be either powerful and insights to help inform and make good decisions and bring you together. It's like the bridge, or it can do exactly the opposite. And I had the opportunity to work with this family, and same thing. So there's 3 siblings, and they're caring for their dad, and they've all decided they, have a super busy life. Each person wants to care for a very specific part. So they have a care plan. They've had the conversation, and generally they felt like, we're in a good spot, we're prepared, we know what to do, like we've talked about it. Right. We had a situation recently where they reached out and they're like, we just have to share with you how this was really valuable to us, because we almost went at each other's throats, because basically their dad had called one of the siblings and basically had said, I've seen so many doctors this week, I don't even remember what I'm supposed to be doing. Do you know what I'm supposed to be taking for meds? I know it changed, but I don't know. And his son instantly was like, oh my gosh, is this like a emergency? Did something happen? Do I need to call 911? Right? They're managing from a distance. And so anyway, you go through the telephone chain, you call your siblings, and then before you know it, you're like, oh, well, it's because he took the neurology appointment, his sister took the primary doctor, and then his other sister took the other doctor. So they didn't realize that their dad was accurate. He was very overwhelmed because he had been through so many, appointments that week. Right. But the problem was they were all managing it in a siloed approach. And so now they use Innerhive, and they're able to put all the information in there. They can post a note and it pushes out. You can see it. You've got a reference, all the people, places involved. And so it's like, okay, when these situations happen, you don't need to go into crisis. It's, Dad did have 3 appointments this week. Here's what's happening. Like, he is pretty overwhelmed, but you can totally avoid that crisis just through information sharing. So,
is there a video component to it, or is it all audio?
It's all audio right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. And so when you talk about video, like, to be able to have the ability to record and keep log, because right now people can upload. So you can take your phone and you can record a video on your phone, or you can take a picture on your phone and you can upload that to Innerhive. So we have a place to store all documents, whether it's documents like that and it's, observations, reflections, progress. It could be documents like insurance. It could be documents like power of attorney.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's so important because
go ahead, Suze.
Like anything that is, that affects the family, the unit as a whole, that is so important, because it takes any of the suspicion out or the mistrust, or if it's there to begin with, and it mitigates all those problems right there and then. So let me just clarify one more time. So when it's recording, is it actually recording an audio file? So you have that. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most people don't want to go back and listen to that full transcription, but they have it as a reference if they want.
No, but it's important if you have it.
Like the nugget.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so
important. Because I was even thinking with dealing with like my mother right now, who has Parkinson's dementia, and she's to a point where she basically all her speech is just sounds, it's not words. Yet she thinks she's actually speaking. You can tell she's talking as if she was talking, but it's just sounds. But behaviors that you can show her physician, things like that. That's why I was thinking about the video component also. That you can engage when you're with the person you're caring for. Now, you can shoot that on your phone.
You could do that with a phone. That's a different thing.
And then upload it. But I didn't know. That's why I was just asking about the video component as far as if it would be, melded within the transcripts and all those things. I don't know. But
no, that's great. It's great feedback. We definitely wanted to start with like families that said, there's so much chaos. Please just help us find clarity, and then help us remember to find connection. Because in that stress, it's really easy to box people out or to get frustrated or let the emotions take over. So we wanted to not ask them to do anything. We're like, hey, we're going to meet you where you're at. We don't want to add to your list. We're actually going to take from you a couple clicks, let this record. We'll give you a summary. You can easily share it. You've got a reference point. We'll give you like very specific tasks. You can interact. It feels so good to check stuff off that list. Share that care with others. then we designed it so that as they go through, which is where you're kind of jumping to, we want to be able to grow with that care journey. A lot of times, if there is a shift and it's a chronic condition or something changing, progressing over time, it's really important that we're taking some sort of record and journal of that every day. And so we do have the ability in our daily journal, which tracks how are you feeling, what did you get today for movement, what did you get for sleep, what about nutrition, where's your energy level at as the person extending care, how much time did you get to spend on yourself, and what are the care events that you extended? Did you spend most of it with meal prep, or maybe it was running to the appointments, or possibly it was medication management. And you can even put in, the amount of time on average, maybe it was 15 hours today. So it's really great because it tracks every single day in less than a minute. You're taking information, you're giving yourself insight, you can share it with others, you can see and understand, wow, on average, this week, I had a good week. I was actually happy most days. I saw my sentiment and I was able to get an hour to myself. I was able to help with some meal prep. We had some appointments, but it wasn't terrible. Mom was great, and you can record some of those things and capture that. And then maybe the week before you can look back and you go, wow, I was not in a good place for those days. What happened? And you can see the pattern of, oh, it was because Mom was not wanting to take the medication. I was having to negotiate a little bit more, and that was taking more energy, and we were exhausting more trying to get that and the nutrition components balanced. But it brings awareness, so then you can start to understand, what am I doing? How am I feeling? What am I extending for care? Where's my wellness at? And eventually we want to be able to then offer suggestions. So when we see that trend and something maybe is not great for a week, we want to be able to reach out to your inner circle and say, hey, Susie could really use your support this week. Maybe you want to consider dropping off some food. She's been spending a lot of time on meal prep. Or, here's an exercise that you can do that's going to help you 30 seconds. Do this. It will help bring you and the frustration with your mom down because she's not understanding what you're asking her to do. We're going to help you reframe it. Or here's a tip. Here's what other caregivers have found that has been successful in terms of, being able to help with movement, or if they don't want to do physical therapy exercises, get creative. Stop thinking about stepping up the stairs. Think about, let's go to the park where there's flowers to pick, which has stairs. But you're focused on, let's go and get those beautiful flowers over there. We're going to have to walk those 2 steps to get there, but let's go get those flowers.
I love it. Do you have an AI that goes, hey, your sister's doing all the work. What's your problem? I'm kidding.
Maybe. That might not be something I want to put in writing.
Where have you been? No, I'm kidding.
It's called the bad cop, we call it.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to say anything, but she has put in like 25 hours this week, and yours is 0.
Well, it's kind of funny you mentioned that because family dynamics come up more than you think. And when you actually have that journal, and I had someone else that shared that sentiment, and she was building resentment with her sibling, and she was like, I just really strongly dislike them right now, and they don't care, and they're not helping. And I was like, well, why don't you journal everything? Why don't you then share that and at least start with, you've done your job in terms of, let me give them some perspective. Let me help them understand what I'm managing, what's going on. Because she's like, no, they don't get it. They don't care. And I was like, well, have you explained? No, they don't. They're like, what takes so long? What are you doing all day? What do you really need to spend that many hours? Is it really that stressful? And she's like, and then I just want to hang up the phone. I was like, well, put your energy into the journal. It's a good reference for you. You get to learn about you and your mom. You can share it with your siblings. Whether or not, lead the horse to water, whether or not the horse decides to drink, different conversation, but at least let some of that emotional energy out. Find a way to turn it into insight. Let them have the opportunity to consume and understand a little bit more, build some empathy around, wow, you are navigating a lot.
So
and
the
can multiple
AI that
family members use, they can have input, or is it just one input and everyone else can just access it? Or can many people do memos and things like that? Is it...
I missed the beginning, but I think what you asked is, can you have one account where multiple people are engaging in it? And if that is
engaging,
the question,
yes, both not only just reading or seeing it, but also doing input and things
contributing.
like that.
100%. 100%. Yep, you have the ability. So all accounts, let's just say me, Crystal, wants to sign up to Innerhive. I download it. I might enter in crystal@livesfree.com. And I say, I'm actually going to bring my sister Rosie and my other sister Sarah in, and they're going to be co-owners. So that means they're going to have full access. We can add, edit. We're all in there. We trust each other. And then maybe I'm going to bring my brother in as a viewer, and he can see what's going on, but not be a co-owner. Talk about family dynamics. How's that for a softball?
Yeah.
But there is an option where you can choose to bring people in as co-owners. They can see it all and do it
Right.
all. And then you can bring people in as viewers. And we have a lot of families that will use that in situations where they're bringing in help into the home for respite, or sometimes they go into a day program, maybe for movement or spiritual groups. And so it's really important to be able to have that context. It gives them the ability to,
Right.
in many cases, there's a profile page that says, here's my dad's preferences, here's his medications, allergens, diagnoses. Also, here's some context around how he tends to communicate best. And that's so invaluable when you're trying to figure out, like, how can I best connect and give someone a great experience when I'm not there? It gives a peace of
Right.
mind. It gives, a slice of confidence. You're like, I feel good, and I know that they're safe because they've got the critical information.
I love this. I love this technology. I'm just getting into AI a little bit myself with just, my social media, and it's been so helpful. And I think that, at least for me, I don't know how your technology and how your AI works, and I'm assuming that you are building it on a database of all this information that's already there from caregiving that is informing how AI responds to certain things. So, but is there also that personal component where it understands like let's say the three of us are on the same account, so it's like, this is Susie checking in, and that AI knows, it starts to learn my patterns and starts to learn what's going on, and then you can say to it, hey, listen, what would be a really nice way to tell my brother to step up? Like, and I mean, could you do that? Is that part of the component or not?
So there's two parts. Yes, it starts to understand and learn. So it does start to
Okay.
recognize who's in the conversation and then identify. Then the other piece that you had said would be more like, can I use AI in an interactive conversational way? And we do have within our app bee, a little nod, because Innerhive was kind of born. We have a love for nature and bees and their social structure. I mean, everyone thinks, oh, busy bee, and that's great, but it's actually the resilience, the way they communicate, the way they come together, and that shared collaboration was something that we wanted to kind of, emulate and shine through with Innerhive. So bee is our little interactive chat. And so in this case, you can absolutely chat with her and say, hey, can you give me some questions that I can consider asking my brother, or can you give me some tips in how I can help my brother recognize that he's maybe not sharing the care load, or that I'm frustrated. And so you can have that interaction with B, and she also gets smarter and starts to be able to understand and learn. And she can offer you some guidance where it's like, hey, consider this, and you can go then do some further discovery, or
Right.
here's something that you might find valuable, or
I think that's so great. I think that's such a good tool, because just the idea of having to sit down and write an email to someone that you're already upset with because you're tired and you're frustrated. So now you've got to sit down and think about the, a non-confrontational way of like asking a question, and everybody is very sensitive. That is such a good tool to have, and it's learning you like that. To me, this is the best use of AI for me, and I'm a writer, so I mean, I find it really helpful in framing certain things that just how to frame it, but it takes too much time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I still think there's a lot of opportunity there, because we've had a lot of people say, it'd be really great. I can identify my inner circle. I can share, updates, help requests, whatever there. We've had people ask and say, okay, what if I want that inner circle to expand? Can we just have all Innerhive users, and you're bringing caregivers together, and then we're having conversation there? So there's learning that's happening at multiple levels. And
great.
I think a lot of people have said, if they get that guidance and they help, they're given a space to just journal, let the emotion out, also a space to have some dialogue around how do I reframe this, and some data to kind of back them up and say, hey, look, here's what's going on. It does change the entire way that connection happens through coordination. It makes it less siloed. It makes people feel more informed and present. And
it's so great
ideally,
because I'm sorry, it just gets me so excited. It's so great because you have, like, if you're saying something and you want to present something, AI, because it does clock and catalog everything that you input. That's the nature of AI. It could easily say, back on such and such, remember, use this, and bring up something that you forgot to even think of to mention about an appointment that you had journaled or logged in or whatever, and it can bring that up and say, don't forget to remind them this. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
I think that's those things start happening. I notice it with working with AI now, that it has all the memory that I've given it, everything that I've, all
Yes.
my information is there. So it has it. It'll say, oh yeah, remember when this so and so did this? Yeah, let's do this instead. And it'll offer up different ways.
I love that. Actually, I feel like that's super applicable to people that are navigating, well, you understand the audience, Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
dementia, any sort of cognitive impairment, because it helps you, like being organized isn't just helpful, it's actually really protective because it
Yes.
supports your safety. You reduce you reduce any sort of errors or missed care steps. It provides you with continuity. So you've got a reference point, a nice kind of audit trail, if you will, when your memory fades. So it's not really a luxury when people think, well, I don't need that. It's actually, you do need that. It is a necessity. Like that is going to help you. It's going to bring you together. It's going to help with your preferences and, decision making. And there is so much power in information. If we can sift through and help people remove the noise, we can give them the insights that are going to change the outcome.
The important things and get the emotions out of the way.
No, I mean, we could say here, we have other features in the app that are, there's a community piece. You can hook up your calendar and bring your appointments in. It will remind you and say you have a doctor's appointment with your neurologist in 5 minutes. Would you like to record? So it puts it in front of top of mind, so you don't have to think about it. It gives you the option right after it finishes and says, added to notes. Would you like to share with your inner circle? I mean, we're trying to take a lot of that mental load out, and we're trying to make it as easy as possible. So there's a lot of richness with our journal, with our appointment, with the note recording. There's so many different places that, people extending care can kind of grow, and they can pick their own journey in the app. So
this is so great and so important. And I'm even more excited about Innerhive now. So I'm glad this was a happy accident, because I like the direction that you're going in, and I get it. And I think, looking back at, if I had that kind of tool, it would have been so helpful in so many ways, like super duper helpful. And I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all in. I think this is really good.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a couple things about doctor interfacing, because I assume B can say, you can summarize, here was the day we spent with her and some weird things were going on and blah, blah, blah. And I assume you can ask B to say, hey, I want to express what happened today to my doctor in a coherent, simplified way based on all of this. So I assume you can take whatever transcripts it had and it'll kind of summarize and say, yeah, this would be a great way of communicating to your doctor. This is the important salient points that really would need to know. Would it go that deep?
Yeah, that's interesting. We haven't actually connected those two, because right now you can have a conversation and we provide a summary and we have very clear next steps or themes. So like, here's what we discussed and here's what needs to be done. And that's typically shared. But I think what you're doing is taking a step further and thinking about the emotional undercurrents or the nuances. Like, how can I position this differently? Or what am I not thinking about? And you could absolutely take that. It's not automated right now, but you could take that and you could connect with B and say, hey, B, I want to show you and I want to express what we did today. Can you help me reframe, how I can share this with my doctor?
Yeah.
So that's probably an area that we can explore even, in terms of where there's opportunity. And this is why the more people we can get in, the more families we can reach, the faster we can understand, like, what do they need?
Yeah. You refining it.
What completely.
And then you're speaking doctor lingo too. Not in, but I mean enough so that it's short. You're doing a shorthand in a way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's medical, but you're doing a quicker shorthand. Like, I didn't know any terms when I was taking care of my mom, right? So I'm trying to explain everything. Like, I didn't know what acuity was, like a high acuity. I didn't know when they were throwing all these words to me, like comorbidities and da-da-da-da-da. All these things, I didn't know what that meant, right? So those are things that, we might not ask at the time, like, wait, slow down. What are you talking about? What's high acuity? What do you mean? Like, and how, and when you say high acuity, how many acuities are there? Like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Because we don't know. If you don't know, it's not your business. But these are things you need to know as a caregiver.
Yes.
Yeah. The other
and it's so
side
nice
of
to be able to
that
have
is
that reference to like go back to and learn and spend time and process. Because on the fly, when you're like elevated, or if you're trying to be present, it's really difficult to. We can't be a medical scribe and an emotional support and a firefighter and everything else that at once. So.
And because well, let me just say one thing. So because your app is geared towards this, it's not like you're going in, because people could say, well, I could just do a Google search. No, because it's different, because yours is already fine-tuned and it's already in this lane. It's primed for this kind of conversation. So it's just picking up and holding on to the important things that belong in the caregiving conversation, correct?
Yes.
Also relevant
Very
to
care-oriented.
your situation.
That too,
because it's
personalized.
not-
But I'm
it's
saying
not
on a
general.
bigger,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
saying on a bigger, but like on a bigger resource capability. To me, it's short. It's like, you'd rather go there than to a Google search where it's like this
Yes.
generalized AI that comes up and goes, well, that there's many ideas that could happen with that, and there's and then it gives you this, But this AI knows you.
It's targeted. It already knows what you're there for. It
Right.
already has an
Right.
understanding of what happens when you're extending care. A lot of people have shared, I want something custom. It's just like you're an entrepreneur, you want to find another entrepreneur, because you don't have to explain yourself. You just say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur
Right.
too. Oh, I get it. You want to find
Right.
someone else who's extending care? Same thing. It removes that load, and it just makes it easier to then collaborate and know very specifically, like, here's the situation. You have empathy.
Totally. Does it say good job?
There's a
Sometimes,
cheerleader.
yes. Yes,
I know.
sometimes you get a little,
I
little
li-
boost.
I like
you're on
it.
5
I
Beach
like
Street,
it.
Keep going.
I'm all about it. I don't care that it's a machine. When my AI tells me I'm a fierce lioness, I like it.
Do you have you heard any experiences, or for example, if I was using this and I went in to see the doctor, I would want to turn this thing on and say, I'm recording this
Capturing
information.
notes.
Yeah, and you should be able to do that, But for example, when Susie was caregiving for her mom, they were like, "Oh, you can't record." The CNAs were like, "You can't do this, or you can't record this." Have there been any pushback? Do you know of any, or do you suspect there would be from anyone on the medical side saying we're documenting this?
I think different offices and different doctors or care teams have different preferences. But if you're talking from like a statewide governance, there's definitely different laws by state if it's a single party or two party or whatnot. So that's why we have a consent before you do it. It's like, hey, make sure that everyone's good with you capturing notes on here. But generally, have we had any pushback with the families that have been using it? No, because they've gotten more value out of it than any sort of barrier of entry. And in many cases, we actually had an organization, and by chance I happened to meet this organization because of the family. And so what had happened was a gentleman had needed to go into assisted living. He ended up going in. They happened to recognize some patterns that maybe there was possibly like a bipolar situation. So ended up sending him off and said, hey, maybe you want to go chat with your doctor, discover this a little bit more. Had a doctor's appointment. He was in general cognitive health, no issues. Had the doctor's appointment, was so overwhelmed with what was said, missed a bunch of it, misunderstood what the doctor said, walked away thinking the doctor said he was bisexual, ended up going back to this organization and thinking, oh my gosh, had such an emotional response and was like, I need to understand if this is accurate, pursued some inappropriate discovery, ended up snowballing into a situation that could have been completely avoided had he had a record of, no, it was actually the doctor saying, you might have some bipolar and here's some ways we're going to explore it. But he was so overwhelmed, he misunderstood, he heard something different and walked away. So there's been so many cases where it's valuable to both parties in terms of making sure someone gets help, making sure, there's the information is heard. And when you think about it, I just did a post recently on LinkedIn where I was talking about, what does this look like in terms of medical errors? Because the volume of money that happens from missed conversations or from information being misunderstood is crazy. It's reported that just shy of 80% of people that walk out of an ER they think they know what's next and they think they understand what's happening, but then you've got almost 30% readmission, and you've got, when you look at the dollars, we're spending over $40 billion in just medication errors, $20 billion in general system errors. So there's a disconnect happening with communication. So anyone that doesn't see value and coming together and finding a better way of feeling more aligned, you may question their why.
Also, besides the financial issue with that kind of information chasm, right? There's also the fact that most facilities, even if they're a hospital or rehab or whatever the case may be, they're understaffed. So the chances of getting records accurate when people are rushing are, that can be a problem. So, and so if you can take an accurate record on your own, then you're ahead of the game. Because, you can say, like, I'm just thinking of my own case, like when I took my mom into the emergency for the 20th time, and the doctor just immediately put her on another antibiotic. And I said, but I think she's on 2 right now. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. And I could have easily said, well, she's on blah, 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 without being stressed out about it. But so that comes in handy because, they don't have time to look it up, especially in an emergency situation. They're like, whatever, they'll do whatever it takes to get them at a base level. That's it.
Yeah, as simple as just what you said. What medications are she currently on?
Yes. Yes.
Because they're not going to look it up. They
don't have time.
Yeah.
They don't have time, and a lot of the systems don't talk to each other. And
They don't.
There's always behind, like, you've got the person extending care and the person receiving care, and almost always the person that needs the care, they're under their own, like, they have their own situation they're working through and emotions, and they have a whole nother level of confusion. But almost always behind that degree of confusion is someone in the family that's extending care, and they're completely overwhelmed. I mean, 2/3 of people extending care cannot keep track of information. And if you don't have the right information, just like you said, it impacts decisions, quality of care. It maybe prevents decisions from even happening, and you're sitting in the space that could then have detrimental impact. Like, it's crazy. There's a better way. We can use information to be insightful and really change outcomes. And there's a much more proactive way of being able to identify some of these trends and patterns and help people. It's just,
Agreed.
There's so much out there. It's overwhelming.
I love it.
Well,
I love it.
You're doing a better way. You're creating a better way. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
Good on ya.
I'm all in, Crystal. I think this is great. I love it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for coming back on, and thank you for sharing this. And I'm excited about what our technology can do. I know there's a lot of bad side to it, but I think what it brings to us in terms of assistance and resource is unbelievably valuable. It's just so incredible and super exciting too, I think.
And life-saving. And life-saving. I mean,
but it also frees you up as a caregiver and allows you to enjoy the time that you have with your loved one instead of being stressed out all the time, because you never know. Life is very tricky, and you want to be able to get as much quality time in as you can, and not be so stressed out, not be so tired, not be killing yourself literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Living,
We're there. There's
so
a better
I
way
love
we can be there to, like,
you
calm
got
the
yeah
person
you're
away,
there.
to hold their
Innerhive.
hand.
I love it. We love anything that has to do with loving,
do.
right, Don? Why?
we do, and you know why? And that's because love is powerful. Love is contagious, and love conquers all.
Conquers all.
We thank everybody for watching, listening. We hope you share, all those good things. And
Go check out Innerhive. Go check out
we'll have
No
all the
Country for Old
information.
People. We'll have all the information for that. Yeah, look at all this great information today on this episode. It's worth it. Look at it. We have so much good stuff for you guys. Thank you for coming, and we're cheering you on.
Thanks, everybody.
You're sure?
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.